This is an R Media podcast.
I work 7 days a week, but saying that, I love what I do. So it doesn't feel like work. Like I sit at my desk or I'm on site. I'm not drudging being there.
Yeah.
I love what I do. So I love the thrill of buying a property. I love negotiating it, like getting a good deal.
I'm Elle Lovelock, Editor-in-Chief of Home Beautiful. Welcome to The Edit, where we bring you into beautiful homes with the people who create them. Today we're talking to Cherie Barber, a woman who has renovated over 200 homes. So I can't think of a better person to share advice on how to secure the best tradies, navigate quotes, and decide whether a fixed price or an hourly rate is the way to go. In this chat, we go deep on budgets, diffusing arguments on site, and an exciting new project where her sidekick is a humanoid called Tinnie. Cherie, welcome to The Edit.
Thank you so much.
It's
good to be here.
Oh, it's so lovely having you here. And I have the perfect story to start our chat.
Do tell.
Years and years ago, I had my very first experience presenting on stage at a home show of sorts. I can't remember which home show it was, and I was quite nervous. We got to the show and saw that on the stage that I was presenting at, you were presenting before me, and you were up there, and there was this enormous crowd, and I thought, this is going to be unreal. And then you concluded your presentation. I was getting ready to go up, and then everybody left.
Oh, no. Sorry.
No, the crowd, they just loved you. And I noticed they were hanging on to every word that you had to say.
Yeah.
And, maybe it was a good practice run for me to present to a handful of people. But it really struck me that the way you share your information is so real and so authentic that people want to listen.
That's my Western suburbs upbringing, just keep it real. Like you, we love sharing information because, particularly for myself, with around the whole sort of game of renovating for profit, you're dealing with big sums of money in property. And so you don't want to see anybody lose 10 or 100 grand. Like people work hard for their money.
Yeah.
So I've always been of the mentality, share as much as you can. People build trust in you.
Yeah.
So it's just all good things, good vibes all around. So, yeah.
That's so nice to hear because I've always wondered you're one of the few people who are so open about how much things really cost.
Yeah.
If something is a bit more expensive, do people ever say, well, that's not real? Or because actually things are expensive now.
Yeah, and things are like right now in the renovating environment is quite terrible. Products are expensive, lead times have blown out, tradies are expensive now. Yeah. And there's some crazy things happening with tradies as well. Like I'm doing a big project at the moment called the Farmhouse, which I know you know of. And there's just been some crazy things that I've noticed with the tradies that I'm like, wow, where did this come from? Do you want me to give you an example?
Absolutely.
So most tradies will either, when they're doing a job for you, will either charge you an hourly rate or a fixed price.
Yeah.
And the better way to always go is a fixed price because particularly when you're renovating a home, because if you are on an hourly rate, then the tradies can go that little bit slower.
Right.
And guess who's paying for that? You.
Yeah.
So I always sort of say to my students around the country, if you can, try and get a fixed price quote.
Yeah.
But what some particular trades now are doing is they're giving you a fixed price quote, but they're building a big profit margin on top. And the worst culprits are plumbers.
Really?
Yeah.
And how do you know, as a regular person who maybe is renovating for the first time, how do you know when a quote is accurate or when it's been inflated?
Well, a good way to try and work out the value of what something should cost, because let's face it, not everybody knows what things cost, and there's not a book that says you should pay this for this, because every home is different. But a good way to always try and determine the true value of something is to always get 3 quotes.
Yeah.
Because if you get just 1 quote, you've got nothing to benchmark it against.
Exactly.
If you get 3 quotes, one tradie might try and have a go and rip you off, but it's very rare that 3 tradies will try and rip you off. So if you get 3 quotes, you've then got something to benchmark it. So, for example, let's say we wanted to tile a bathroom and the one tiler quoted $5,000 and another tiler quoted $1,500 and another tiler quoted maybe $6,000. You know that the true value of that tiling job is probably somewhere between 5 to 6.
Yeah.
I'd be very cautious about using the person that's 1.5 because obviously why can they do the job so cheap?
Exactly.
So you can tell a lot just by getting 3 quotes. You can tell a lot about the tradesperson, whether they're going to like have those conversations with you. Like, you know, if I had appointed that $1,500 tradie, I'm sure he might be the type of tradie that were like, oh, love, while he's in the job, that wasn't included.
Yes.
That wasn't included. That wasn't included. That I can do it, but that's extra.
Yeah.
So just going through that quoting process, you can actually sort of weed out a lot of bad things that can happen to you in renovating.
Absolutely.
It can be difficult, but not always. And it really depends on how you treat that tradesperson too. If you sort of go in and you're all like hoity-toity and do that please, you're not going to last long. So
what should you do instead?
Just try and be a human being.
Yeah.
Try and talk to tradies like they're humans. They have families.
Yeah.
They have kids. They have expenses. They have worries.
Yeah.
Just paying attention, like being considerate, being a kind person. It's really tough because on a renovation site, particularly if you do have tradies that are hourly rates, and a lot of tradies do like hourly rates, it's a tough thing because you need to try and drive them. Like you need to push them a little bit to move at a reasonable pace.
Yeah.
But then you don't want to be seen as that person who's cracking the whip on them because that's the fastest way to get them to, you know, turn around. So I sort of try and, you know, when I'm starting a job, particularly with new trade, I'll go through, I'll brief them, you know, walk around, show them exactly what needs to be done, explain it to them. I'm always like, okay, I'm here, I'm on site. If you need anything, don't guess, just come and ask, you know, just to avoid mistakes. And then I'm always going and getting, you know, the coffees and the sausage rolls from the local bakery. We have a barbecue every Friday. So I go down the butcher and I get like, even though I'm a vegetarian, I go down the butcher and I get like 20 Scotch fillets. You know, we just have bread rolls and salad and, you know, just like sliced cheese and I stick it on the table. I cook it all.
Are they on the clock at that point?
No. So most tradies, they don't. This is the thing. Some tradies will charge you for hourly, like their lunch break, and some won't.
Yeah.
And there's no like definitive rule about that. So, like for example, all my carpenters, I've got about 10 carpenters on site at the moment.
Yeah.
And they're like from 2 separate carpentry companies.
Yeah.
And their bosses have made the decision not to pay their tradies for their lunch breaks.
Okay.
But then I have other trades where they'll start at 7, they'll start at 3, and you just pay for an 8-hour day.
Isn't it interesting that the hourly rate thing, when we were renovating our place, my husband can be quite a talker. And I had to say to him, can you please just stop talking to everybody because we're paying them by the hour. And yes, be friendly, but save the chat for another time.
I just had the same conversation with my hubby about last week, actually. The excavator pulled up on site. Yeah. And so he stopped and my hubby likes this tradie. So he just was like having this conversation in the front yard, rambling on with God knows what. And then I was like looking at that and I was like, oh my God, that conversation has just cost me $75. So I was like,
come on.
Move on.
I am learning so much from Cherie. We'll be back with more tips soon. So let's talk about your renovation.
Yes.
The farmhouse. This is massive.
Yeah.
So for anybody who hasn't come across it yet, take us back to the beginning.
Okay. Well, I live in the city at the moment. I live in an old lolly factory, which is quite interesting.
Wow.
So I live in a big sort of converted warehouse.
Yeah.
And I love it. Like as soon as, so I bought that in the first week of COVID.
Yeah.
So I bought the property. You know, it was more expensive, but then I thought, oh my holy crap, what have I done? You know, because there was so much fear in that first week of COVID. So I panicked a little bit, but anyway, I bought it. I saw the property and I just absolutely loved it. I was like, I have to have this house. So I bought it. That was great. It used to be an old lolly factory, so the walls were just right up, but it's beautiful. Like it's really great indoor-outdoor connection. So there's central yards within the warehouse, but it is like a fortress. And I love it because nobody can see and I can see out, and it's super quiet and all that sort of stuff. And I just love all the, you know, the vintage. It's like an authentic vintage warehouse, and I'm just like obsessed with everything from the 1950s. I was born in 1970, but I'm obsessed with everything from the 50s and 60s and a little bit of the 70s.
What do you love about it?
I love the colour.
Yeah.
I love just the beautiful lines and everything, like the beautiful cars. Like I have a 1956 Chevy Bel Air in pink.
Oh, that's so cool.
I know. So that's my most favourite possession. Mildred, I named.
Mildred.
I'm the second owner, so the first owner was Mildred Lambrecht. So I got her name, Mildred, painted on the car. I love the warehouse because it had all the vintage exposed rafters, and it just felt nostalgic.
Yeah.
And it had a triple garage, which is great because it's really hard to find a double garage anyway. So my Chevy fits in. But my hubby doesn't like it because he sort of grew up on a farm. And so he's used to open spaces, green paddocks. So I ended up buying this property in Mulgoa, which is sort of like the posh part of Penrith, the western suburbs.
I love that.
And I like it out there because I also grew up out there. So that's where I grew up from the age of sort of like 5 to 17.
Okay.
So it's sort of like going back home for me.
Wow.
Yeah. So I've never lived on an acreage property, but I love the serenity, like, you know, the serenity.
Serenity now.
So in the city, there's hustle, bustle. My house is 5 Ks from the CBD.
Yeah.
Planes go over. You always hear ambulances, police cars, beep, beep.
Yeah.
You know, just there's always noise and
What do you hear at the farmhouse?
birds. Birds and more birds, kangaroos. You wake up every morning and there's kangaroos in your backyard. There's a few animals that I don't like brown snakes and stuff that are there. And there's wedge-tail eagles. So I've got 3 little psycho chihuahuas. So those wedge-tail eagles can fly in and pick them up.
Oh my
so
God, that's terrifying.
Yeah, it is. It is super terrifying. So that's the only thing I don't love about it. But it just does something to you, like living on an acreage property. I just feel so relaxed.
Yeah.
And I think just with my lifestyle, I've been go, 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 go for the last 35 years. So it's good for me. You know, I'm sort of like 56 now, and I just think I can't be like going like a full-on overcharged Energizer bunny all the time.
What changed?
Nothing really.
Just life went on and you evolved.
I think I was just starting to get tired.
Yeah.
You know, because I've done over like 250. I think I'm at about 260 renovations that I've personally done.
Unbelievable.
And that's a lot of work.
That's a lot of work.
Sort of designing them, finding the properties, designing them, just lining up all the trades, sourcing all the materials, executing the renovations, selling them or keeping them, and then managing tenants.
Did you get a buzz out of it?
Yeah.
Is that what kept you going?
I love doing property deals. Like, I don't know. I'm super weird.
We all have a thing.
I'm really lucky that I found my passion really early in life because, in all truthfulness, I had all the makings to be really not much in life with my education, lack of it.
At what point as a child or a teenager or a young adult did you realise I want something different?
Pretty early on. So I think when my parents got divorced and my mum had been a stay-at-home mum, and so she tried to apply for jobs, couldn't get a job.
Gosh.
And so then she had a nervous breakdown, and so I was sort of like the one sort of mopping up that mess.
Oh my gosh, that's a lot for a 15-year-old.
Yeah, well, by the time all of that happened, I was 17. And so I just saw what a lack of money did to her, and I think that was the catalyst for me wanting to work hard.
Yeah.
But now I've gone to an extreme level where I work too hard.
Yeah.
You know, it's not unusual for me to be working, I work 7 days a week, but saying that, I love what I do. So it doesn't feel like work. Like I sit at my desk or I'm on site. I'm not drudging being there.
Yeah.
I love what I do. So I love the thrill of buying a property. I love negotiating it, like getting a good deal. I would be absolutely lying to say that, hey, if you do a renovation, it's all going to be smooth sailing. We know that's not true.
How do you deal with that when something isn't what you expect it to be or not up to standard?
I really haven't had any situations over the last 10 years where I've had any sort of heated exchanges with my tradies. I don't let them get to that level now.
Yeah.
So if I can feel something brewing or I know a tradie's not going, there's going to be a result that I'm not going to be happy with, I'll approach them and I'll say, hey, can we just have a chat about something?
Yeah.
I just want to double check with you. Like I'm tiptoeing around it, but in a nice way.
Yeah.
Because you don't ever want to go, hey, you're doing that wrong.
Yeah.
Because instantly the walls go up with tradies.
Absolutely.
So I'll just say, hey, can we have a chat about something? I'm a little bit concerned about this. I was wanting this. Pictures are always good.
Yes.
Because when you're renovating, because if you've got an idea in your head or you want a certain look, explaining that to a tradie, like don't assume what's in your head is translatable into their head.
Yeah.
So, I'll try and nip it in the bud and I'll talk to that person very kindly and say, look, if they say, look, that can't be done, okay, can we try and find a solution? And I find often that if you let the tradesperson find the solution, they'll often do the best work for you.
Yeah.
So definitely don't be some hothead on site.
No.
And like I said, it gets back to just talking to them like real people,
Yeah.
be kind,
Yeah.
and that's where, if you have had a somewhat heated exchange with the tradie, hey, can I go down the shop and grab you a coffee, whatever.
Yeah.
Or the really great thing is, hey, I can feel that this conversation's not going where it should be. Can we just 10 minutes time out?
Yeah.
I just want to step away, gather my thoughts.
Yeah.
It gives them time to cool down.
Exactly.
It gives you time to cool down.
So back to the farmhouse, you said you have 2 teams of carpenters.
Yes.
Because one team's not enough.
Yeah, well, I've got a guest house there and then I've got the main house. And then I've got other teams working on the landscaping.
gosh.
So, it's a bit of a juggling act.
So you're making the move to the country.
Look, for me, I think it's just, just sort of having a house that you're really happy with, a house that, brings you incredible joy when you come home, a house that you can have your favourite things in, and a house that sort of really suits the spaces. Like, for example, my hubby is a musician, a professional musician. He's a cameraman as well.
Okay.
But before we met, he was a professional musician. So he's always on his bass guitar, drives me absolute nuts. So I knew that in this house, I need to build him a music room.
Yeah.
So, I can lock him away down in the dungeon and he can, jam as much as he wants. So I think for us, it's just, getting the spaces that we need at this stage of my life. There's also my daughter. So the guest house will be her house. So I can keep my 20-year-old daughter close at bay.
Oh, that's a wonderful idea.
Yeah. So, and it's so hard for young people to get on the property ladder these days. So it gives her a bit of a head start. And then it's just also it's just the beautiful green grass and the trees that the 3 little psycho chihuahuas can run around with. So it's sort of just ticking all the boxes.
So cute. We saw a picture of them where they're wearing little hats.
Oh, yeah.
It was so little. Were they little flower hats or
Yeah, you know
bumblebees?
what?
So black and yellow.
Yeah, I was in Melbourne filming Space Invaders for 4 months. So I relocated there for the show, and I just went to some Melbourne art and craft show on the weekend. And then I saw this little stand and they had dog hats and I was like, oh, they're so cute. So I thought I'll get 3 of them. And I thought they're just little hand knitted things, almost nothing to them. I thought they'd probably be $10 each. So I said, I'll have 3 of them. Yeah. And then she said, so I stuck them on my dogs and everybody was like, oh, they're so cute. And then she said, that's $240. And I was like, oh, my God. And I just didn't have the heart then to go, I'll put them back.
They're already tied onto the dogs' heads.
Yeah, and the dogs hate them. They were throwing their head around, ripping them off. One dog was trying to rip the other one off and it's a disaster.
That is hilarious.
The moral of that story is don't buy your dogs weird hats.
That's a good life lesson. Speaking of life lessons, what are you learning at the farmhouse?
the OSSM. Do you know what that is?
I have no idea.
It's the poo and wee pit. So, yeah, basically the on-site sewer management system. So I'm just like, I've never dealt with like a big on-site sewer management system. So it's like the EnviroCycle where, you know, all the waste goes into one chamber and that spins around and does whatever, and it goes into like 8 different chambers and that flows from there to there and all sorts of stuff. And then there's the water tanks.
Yeah.
And, you know, pumping those up and downhill, and it's the whole bushfire. So I'm in a bushfire zone. And so all the bushfire materials and the thermal break windows, you know, as opposed to single glaze or double glaze, they've got to be thermal break. So even at this ripe old age of mine, I'm still learning things when it comes to renovating. And I just think as a renovator, it doesn't matter if you've done one project or 300 projects, you never stop learning.
Absolutely.
And that's great.
It is. After the break, Cherie tells us more about Tinnie and why she wanted to embark on this world-first social experiment. And of course, you have embraced technology in a way that is really exciting.
Yes.
Tell us about your teammate.
Yes, so I have a new teammate, a new renovation assistant. His name is Tinnie. Tinnie is not a human. Tinnie is a humanoid robot.
This is just phenomenal. I've met a humanoid before.
Yeah.
And he, she, they were absolutely gorgeous, but all they really did in our encounter was wave and break dance.
Yes.
So what does Tinnie do?
Well, Tinnie's from Unitree Robotics in China. So they have like a G1 and that's the one that just waves and dances.
Okay.
And that's fine for the first 5 minutes, but what do you do with it after that? And that robot's about $20,000 Australian by the time, you know, the currency's converted. So Tinnie is a G1 EDU, which means he's totally programmable, and he's about 160,000, 150, 160, depending on currency.
Wow.
So he's totally programmable. So, for example, he's been programmed with a lot of the products that I'm using. Like, for example, I'm using James Hardie cladding on all of the on all of the property, and so he's been programmed with all of the cladding specs, how to install. So if the tradies are on site and they're not sure maybe how corner comes together, I can ask Tinnie, how do we do the corner joints on this James Hardie Stria cladding, for example, and he'll go, he'll spit the answer out.
Oh my gosh.
He can do the side induction.
So he speaks. So you communicate with Tinnie like you would any other tradesperson.
And we talk to him for design opinions. So I can say, Tinnie, I'm thinking about painting this bedroom sage green or muddy olive. What do you think? What colour do you think would be best for this bedroom? And he'll statistically sort of tap into ChatGPT and he'll say, Cherie, statistically proven sage green might be the better colour because it's more calming, better suited to environment. You know, if it was orange or something, it might be energising, not a good colour. So, so it's a social experiment. So went to China and I saw Tinnie for the first time. So I named Tinnie. I thought, Tinnie, he's made of metal.
Yeah.
So I thought tin, and then I thought Tinnie is a can of beer.
Exactly.
Which is what all the tradies have on a Friday afternoon. So that's where his name came from, sort of like Aussie slang. And then I went and saw Tinnie. So I'd worked on him so much, like we were programming him, writing briefs for his personality, what I needed him to do. So he all got programmed. And then I saw him for the first time. And I know it sounds really stupid, but the first time I saw him, I felt like I was in love with him because he's so tiny. He's like a little kid. And so I just walked up to him and gave him a hug. I know it's stupid. Like I know all the viewers right now saying, yep, she's totally like cray-cray. No. But I just had done so much work on him, and my partner had as well, that we just felt like this emotional bond to him. Robots are coming whether we like it or not. And to be honest, I'd have copped a little bit of flack from people, like people on my social media who I love. You know, people have said, Cherie, I love you. I've been following your work for, you know, a decade. but I'm not following you for this one. So people have been quite anti-robot. And
Why do you think that is?
because everybody's scared of AI and
Yeah.
robots taking our jobs. It's a security thing. And one thing I can say with absolute certainty, Tinnie he can't do construction work.
Yeah.
A robot cannot do what the tradies do. Like a robot cannot climb a roof, take roof sheets off, pop out rivets, take roof sheets off. They can't run electrical cables. Like they have hands, but even like the fingers, they've got fingers, but the fingers don't do this. They can't grab stuff.
Yeah.
So they're very limited. So one thing that has definitely come out of this social experiment so far is that robots are not replacing humans anytime soon.
No.
And I think I will get to the end of this project and I think that'll literally be my closing line in this show.
Yeah.
Tinnie was great. Tinnie was great as the brainy assistant. He really saved me time. For example, I was on site like 2 weeks ago and I said, Tinnie, can you recommend 3 steel suppliers for me in Sydney? So instead of me jumping on Google and having to like troll through Google, Tinnie just went, 3 steel suppliers in Sydney are boom, boom, boom. So I just quickly wrote them down in my diary.
Yeah.
And then I contacted those 3 companies and I ended up going with one of them.
Yeah.
I could have spent half an hour Googling, but Tinnie answered that for me in about 3 seconds.
It saves so much time.
So I think there's good and bad sides to this.
Yeah.
The robot, like as I said, it's a social experiment. And I think I will get to the end and say, the robots can't do what we do, but that's a great thing.
Yeah.
And this opens up an incredible opportunity for humans to enter the construction industry.
Definitely. I can absolutely see why Cherie is such a Renovating for Profit icon. She's clever, she's real, and willing to share every last detail of her renovations. Cherie and I had so much to talk about that there's a part 2 of this conversation out right now where she walks us through her newest project, the Farmhouse. And you don't have to go far. Jump on to the next episode wherever you're listening to or watching this one.
This is an R Media podcast.